In your life, you deserve to be more, do more, have more, and give more. And now the Becoming More podcast with Dianna Kokoszka.
So welcome to another podcast of Becoming More, where we learn about great people and how they have been able to change their lives based upon training their brain to a new way of thinking, becoming more. And Melanie Kennemann is with me today. Melanie has been a real estate agent, a team leader, which is like the office manager, the CEO of the company, and now an OP. I mean, you're doing all sorts of things, just getting better and better.
Now I'm master faculty for Keller International University.
Well, see, there you go. It just keeps getting better and better and becoming more. That's
right.
Exactly right. So where you started, because you didn't get there overnight, for heaven's sake.
No, I didn't. And I just want to start by saying, too, you have been a major influence in my life.
Oh, well, thank you.
So let's just throw that out there right now. So it's no surprise to me that you came out with Becoming More right when I needed it.
Oh, well, I appreciate that. You know, it's interesting how many people are in anxiety and depression and stress right now. And we'll get to that a little bit later. I just want to hear your story about where did you start?
Okay. And for just a side note, she is my energy sister. I have been following this woman my entire career. So I started my career 17 years ago. Before I did real estate, I was in film and television. I'm from the West Coast, went to college. After college, I started in front of camera. I was like modeling before I went to college, singer background. And then after college, I got behind the scenes, which led me to Germany, where I met the father of my children, ended up moving there and stayed there for 9 years in Hamburg, Germany. And had two boys, led a film cruise. I didn't speak German when I went there. And so I had this limiting belief that languages I couldn't do them. Like foreign language, I could talk in a room, I could perform for thousands of people, but language is not my thing. And funny how life will show you exactly what you need, how wrong you are.
You went and you had to learn.
Yeah, 26 years old. I moved to Germany. I want to work in film over there. I don't speak a word of German, so now it's not cute to be the American girl anymore.
You tell them what to do, like point.
I went to language school, and 90 days in, a director that I'd worked with said, "All right, Melanie, you ready to learn?" And he was English. So he spoke English. And then so I got to practice my German and be like his assistant, like second assistant director.
Okay.
And that's how I learned to communicate. And within a year, I looked up one day and I'm fluent, and I'm actually the set manager doing something I thought was impossible.
You just started.
Yeah.
And it didn't take long. How long was it?
So I think about a year to be really fluent, that I could really lead the team. Yeah, that was amazing.
So how did you overcome that limiting belief? Just by going in and starting to do it?
Yes, and it's funny because there was a language school in Hamburg, and I remember going, and I went, and I just missed the last class. Like it just had been a weekend already, and I was like, but the next one wasn't starting till next month. Like I can either wait for next month, or I probably missed all the important stuff from last week.
You jumped in.
I jumped in. So I walked in and I said, okay, just if I go in, if I don't like it, I'll start next month. What do I have to lose, right? But I go in and with 5 minutes, I'm leading the class basically, right? Because it was people from over. But you just had to get over being right, looking good and being right. And I learned a lot from you, as I had to not be afraid of that.
Isn't it funny how when you feel the fear and do it anyway, the fear dissipates as you get further and further in.
Yeah.
Yet you just have to believe a little bit in yourself.
For sure.
What was it that you were telling yourself that allowed you to go ahead and go for it?
I have this thing in my mind where I'm second born child, and I've always been very competitive. So when I make a decision, it's happening. So when I make a decision to do something, whether it was leadership or my previous career that I'd done, it was a decision I was making. That I don't listen to the noise around me. So when I went to Germany, it became this decision of, I'm going to do that. And it's so funny because all of a sudden I forgot how hard languages were, because I wanted to do that. And the minute
let's just stop right there, because I want them to hear that. Once you got immersed in it, once you took the driver's seat of the car, so to speak, going towards your goals, and you put fear in the passenger seat, you just said something that was marvelous. You said once you got into the language, you forgot how hard language was.
Right.
Now, okay, so take us back. You're in this class and you're learning German.
Yes. And there are people from all over the world in there, like all over the world, Japan, Russia, And I'm like, okay, I think this is going to be easier for me than that. And anytime you spoke any language in that class that was not German, you had to put money in the pot and there was a big party at the end. So like there was like consequences. Imagine that.
Oh, yeah, I couldn't imagine. So accountability. Right?
Exactly.
Okay.
And that jar got pretty full and we did have a party at the end. But I realized in that room, Diana, that I'm not the only one here. So I was in a room with people that are business owners and very intelligent people from all over the world there that were also just beginning on this phase where you're looking stupid. And I know I don't say it right. And I feel like as a kindergartner, but I wanted to get past that. And I knew you had to get through the hard thing to get to the other side.
What did the instructor say or do anything that helped you get through it? Or was it just the people that you watched?
I think they made it a safe space.
Okay.
They never made you wrong. They would rather have you fail and try and put yourself out there
that's
than,
so good.
yes, because you get over it because it's, when you're learning a new language, often it's easier to understand, right? The speaking part is where you don't want to be wrong because, in the United States or English, the language we speak here, it's like you don't have masculine, feminine, formal, all the things, right? And so you have to let go of that and just move through it.
So as you let go, as you surrender, as I say in the book, you literally grabbed hold of the language.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what was it like when you were working to control it?
Well, it's so funny. That was tough. So it was funny because all of a sudden I started dreaming in German.
Wait, did you still dream in English as well?
Yes. So I would dream bilingually. And I knew I was getting there. And it was funny because honestly, when I moved to Germany, a lot of Germans, they learn English in school, right? So like first grade, they start. It's amazing what they do. So everybody who knew I was from the United States, they're like, oh, they wanted to practice their English.
Oh, and you wanted to practice.
And I said, yes. And I would ask them, I said, please give me about 6 months.
Yes.
Let me get good enough that I can have a conversation with you in German, and then I'll teach you anything English you want, right? And so I had to set the expectation that we'll speak German when we're together because I'm going to learn. And I would listen to German television. I wouldn't allow myself any English entertainment at all. I just immersed myself.
And so by immersing yourself, how long was it before you really felt like you could speak fluently?
Well, it's about 6 months. I felt like I could get along, but by a year I could lead. Yeah.
Oh, my word. And so now you're leading the television studio.
Right.
And you're doing film.
Right.
And you were there for how many years?
I was there for 9 years. So I was the one on set with the walkie-talkies, working with the director and the actors. It was fun. And it really mattered to understand that because there's safety issues, right? Like a helicopter would be landing and then here comes the car and all the things. And one of the directors, I worked on this series for about a year. And it was an awesome TV series for Germany. And one of the directors was from Austria, and he was very arrogant. And he knew I was newer in my English. And so he would speak like very complicated to me. And I would go up to him and I would say, you have two choices with me, darling. Number one, you can speak pure German and things will go a lot faster. Or I'm just going to repeat everything you say to make sure that I move forward correctly for the safety of our team. You choose. And it was so funny. One day my producer came up to me and the whole team had complained about the director to her about how they were treating me. And she said, do I need to talk to that guy? And I said, oh no, I got it. He let that figure out real quick. When I kept just repeating, so what I'm hearing you say, and I would repeat
and then
it.
You would say it.
Exactly. And the minute I stopped, I knew, okay, great, we're speaking the same language.
There's leadership lessons there that are so good, Melanie. Like, number one, listen to the people. Two, empower them. Don't work to push them down, right?
Yeah.
And yet at the same time, you respected him. And I think that's the big thing. A lot of people want to overpower the leader.
Yeah.
And then there's no respect either way, right? And so all these little leadership lessons that we're hearing here. So you come back to the U.S. though. What brought you back?
So I was homesick. So I had two little boys. And I was homesick. I wanted to have cousins and grandma and all that because I didn't have any family over there. So I came back, and I'm from Los Angeles originally, but my parents had split. And so I grew up in this teeny town outside of Lake Tahoe on the Nevada side. So at that time of my life, the boys were 1 and 4, and my mom was a retiring principal in Reno, Nevada. And my little sister was there starting a family. I'm like, well, I'll just move to Reno because there's the mountains. I'm a real hiker, outdoor kind of person. I'm like, I want my children to have that experience. So when I went back to the States, that's when I'm like, what could I do where there's no ceiling to anything that's like it's people related. Yeah. There's no ceiling to the potential. What about real estate? And to me, real estate felt like it's just like learning another language. I got my real estate license.
There you go. So you got your real estate license. Did you start off at Keller Williams?
I did in 2006. I met you right after that, by the way. And what I didn't know is I got my license and there was this loud crashing noise, and that was the market. Nevada was ranked #1 in foreclosure, short sales, you name it. So I got in right when it was really messy. And
you didn't know any different.
I didn't know any different.
That's the greatest part. A lot of people, because of their mindset, they're so used to it being this way that when it goes that way, they don't know how to pivot. They don't know how to change.
Yeah.
You didn't know any different.
It was a huge advantage.
Yeah, it really, I bet you it was. So you went in and with
Yeah.
your sparkling personality, you immediately took over
Yep.
and
Yep.
went up to be #1. And then they asked you to say, hey, you're doing so well, let's have you in charge of everyone else.
Well, it's funny because when I joined Keller Williams, I had never heard of the company before. And
Yeah.
3 people I respected said, go check out this little company from Austin, Texas. At the time, they were ranked like #7 in the country. And I was like, Keller who? I'm West Coast. I've been in Europe. And I went there and I loved immediately. I knew I was in an environment of entrepreneurs, but I also knew I was going to be a team leader. The minute I joined, I'm like, I'm going to do that. I'm going to do that because it was about leading people.
It's about leading, and you knew that you were a leader.
Yeah.
And you wanted to be in that position, so you were going for it.
I was going for it. I didn't say anything. He tapped. Bob Clement was the OP at the time. He tapped me about a month in, and I wasn't ready, right? And so 10 months later, I took over as team leader. I was on track to be rookie of the city for sales, and I remember when he approached me, and we did the whole thing, and I said, my husband at the time was filming in Germany, and I called him. I said, I don't know, I know I want to be team leader, but I don't know if I want to be team leader right now because I've got the sales thing down. And he gave me really good advice. And he said, what if this opportunity doesn't come around for another 5 years?
No, that's good. Opportunity doesn't knock over and over and over again, right?
Not on your time frame. Exactly.
I love the saying that opportunity, you never lose opportunity because somebody else finds it. Never lost.
That's good. And I didn't want to lose. I did not want to miss that opportunity. And it's funny because 2 people that were mentoring me, when they heard that I was stepping in and going down this process, they're like, are you crazy? Because there had been a turnover of team leaders. And I think a team leader hadn't lasted 10 months or something. And I said, no, I'm in it. I'm going to do this. I'm all in.
You lasted.
I did.
And then
all the records.
You did so well that when you came to Austin one day, you were asked to move to Austin and take over the #1 market.
That's right. Yeah.
So how did that happen?
So I did that for 3.5 years in Reno and took us to #1 in the city, #1 in the region, #21 of all of Keller Williams. And I was ready for more.
Yes.
And I was becoming more. And my OP changed the game on me, honestly. That's how it started. We had this plan that I was going to take over. I mean, I had my eye on Bold because you had just written Bold, and Bold was in Reno. I'm like, oh, I want to do that. But my husband at the time was still traveling a lot, so I'll wait till they're a little bit older. But I was going to be the OP, which is the operating partner in our world. It's the visionary of the office, but you have more flexibility to do, lead a team, lead other team leaders, whatever. And I felt like I had proven myself locally, but I thought bigger than him. I outgrew him, and he changed the game on me. And so I said, okay, so if you're not going to create an opportunity for me, do I have your permission to go find a bigger opportunity anywhere else? And because of thanks to you, honestly, you put me on stage all the time. I was on stage at all the things that we did. So I could have gone wherever I wanted. I really could have, because
there were a lot of people that
opened
were
a lot of
looking
doors
for
for
a
me.
team leader, and there you were, and you were ripe, you were ready, and you wanted bigger opportunity.
I did. And the only one that I was interested in was Market Center 1.
Well, and the interesting part about that is I trust that all of you realize you don't go into opportunity, you grow into opportunity. My mentor, John Maxwell, taught me that. And so if you want, I call it being repotted. I have plants upstairs when you walked in, and those plants, as they grow, I have to repot them into a bigger pot.
Yeah.
And that's all that was happening. You were growing and growing and growing, and you just needed to be repotted, so to speak. But isn't it interesting how much fertilizer we have thrown on us in order to grow, right?
Yeah.
So how did you overcome some of the challenges, and what were they? And what do you have advice for our listeners?
You mean when I was there or when I came to Austin?
Whenever you...
Okay, so
you had challenges.
I had a lot of challenges. For example, I kept having these flags that I was thinking bigger than my person above me, right?
Yes.
And I was like, okay, I don't like to be in environments where people make me small. I like to have a vision and then get out of the way and help me. I'm just that natural person, or otherwise I'm going to go find my own thing. And so things like, there was one woman that I really wanted to be our broker. And she was amazing. And I went to my owner and I said, listen, I want to get her as our broker. I think she'd be a game changer. Currently she was at the time she was the Nevada State Real Estate Commissioner.
Oh, she should be a good one. Yeah.
I know, a great one, right? Because
she knows all the rules.
How long have I done this? 10 months. So I know I had to have a great legal team around me because I'm not that person. I am this, let's build $1 million businesses, $1 billion businesses, right? And so I went to him and I said, I'm going to get her. And he told me, you'll never get her. I kept hearing that from him.
Oh.
And I got her, by the way. Okay.
Well, of course you did. Yet he was, well, I have a saying, people grow into the conversations you create around them.
Right.
And so when people are creating conversations around you like they were with you, that makes it challenging because your head, your storyteller in your mind is saying this, and they keep putting that devious storyteller to work in your mind that wants to hold you back. So how'd you overcome that?
Well, I knew I had two choices. I could play small and stay in his world, or I would go create a bigger world.
And that's why you
find a bigger, and that's why I left.
And there's another leadership lesson.
Yeah.
Don't hold people back.
That's right.
Yeah.
He made that real easy for me. And he was so upset by it. And I looked at him, I said, why are you upset by this? You made all of these decisions. To this day, he's very proud of me now. He's very proud and claims everything like, I talent scouted. I said, see, you did. You can take all the credit. You gave me my first chance. And he sees now how that would, even if he had not played small, I still would have left because that city was too small. Yeah, it was too small.
So you wanted to get bigger and you're back in it. You're leading still to this day. You're doing more opportunity by becoming a master faculty. You're out training now that your kids are grown up.
Yes, they are.
One's married.
Almost, not really. Oh, we're very untraditional in my family, although there's a child. So no marriage, but there are children.
So, Costa Rica.
Yes, I have a little baby in Costa Rica.
I know you
I know she's amazing. Here's the thing though, Diana. I thought here's another thing without like disparaging anything, but I thought I was like this big deal when I came to Austin. She loves because she knows where I'm going. And then I had this rude eye-opening, like where am I? Like, where am I? Nobody knows you. And you talk about this a lot. You and John Maxwell is who taught me that about positional leadership. Like a title doesn't mean anything. Like you have to earn the right of your people. So I went from an environment of, I knew everybody's family. I mean, I was a 170 person office. They knew me as like we're family. And I come to Market Center 1, which is the flagship, which really attracted me because I knew there was work to be done. If it had been perfect, I wouldn't have come. Like I wanted the challenge. We're at 500 agents. But I get there and I'm like, I know nobody. Like this feels weird.
And nobody knows you.
Nobody has a clue who I am. They're like, who's this girl? And and so it was such a great and challenging time for me to say, okay, but I got it. It's like in Germany. I got this though. I got this. I know why I'm here. It's just like learning another language. I did it in Reno, got us to #1. Now I'm here. It's always about the people. Pour into your people. And Mark Willis had given me that advice when I was in my first FSO, when I was transitioning in. I said, what should I do when I take over? I was taking over from the new agent to team leader. He said, just re-recruit your people for the first 30 days. So I just poured into those Austin agents. I'm like, tell me what you do. This is what I like, I'm here to help you. And it all of a sudden I start getting referrals. Well, we grew that office from 500 over 900, broke all the production records, but it took time, and I'm very proud of that, right? But it's always about people and relationships. Leadership is all about people. And that's what you've shown.
I know when Mary Tennant was there, it was she didn't want to leave till it was 1,000, and then when she left and different people came in, it went way down. And so when you came back in, you had to build it back up, which was very, very interesting to watch. So see, the other part of it is be careful who you pass that baton to, right?
Yeah.
And it wasn't that these people were bad; they were great people.
Yeah.
I think sometimes you can't be a prophet in your own backyard, and they came in from that market center, and so the people had seen them as an agent, they had seen them as an equal, and now all of a sudden, hey, I'm reporting to you. Makes it a little bit more challenging with you coming in from out of town and getting to know them. You had a little bit of an advantage.
Another advantage.
I
always see the advantage.
I was going to say, you take the advantage. That's the best part. So you and I talk a lot about energy.
Yes.
Because of my physics background, I love energy, and I wrote about the 4 energies of success in the book. and you have energy. What would you say to our audience about what should they be working on to get their energy up?
It's so interesting because right now that is everything.
Yeah.
It always has been, but right now it's everything. We started off talking about that. Like there's so much hardship in the world, and since COVID, there's so much more depression and suicides and just in life in general. Forget the sales.
Yeah.
If you're not getting your energy in alignment, you're missing everything. Nothing will feel right.
Right.
And so me, myself, as I'm becoming, and as I said, this book coming out, I'm becoming even the next version because yes, I've been a team leader for 16 years. Yes, I'm all the things.
Yeah.
But this is the time in my life where I'm working on me for real now.
That is so good because you either grow within or go without, right?
Yeah.
And that's the part that a lot of people, you just have to realize that unless you work on yourself, it's so easy to say, look at what they're doing. They need to do this. They need to do that. Instead of looking in the mirror. Has there ever been a time like me that you looked in the mirror and you went, really, does everything have to rise and fall on leadership? Can't it be somebody else's fault? Just one.
And I have the day off, please. And you never have the day off from leadership when you sign up for that. It's what and a thing that I talk about, and I was attracted to your energy the minute I saw you, even back in my Reno days, and you know that. And I always said, my energy feels connected to you because and you would always say your energy precedes you. And so when I talk about, you asked me how do you make sure you keep that, top of mind for you, you have to do the work within. You have to do the work within. And I've talked a lot lately about lighthouses to people. And I say, that lighthouse is such a beautiful, because it's the mast on the plane too. But a lighthouse does not stand on an island and run around looking for boats to save. They stand there and they shine brightly and they're weathering the storm, the sunny days, all the things. But what that does is it paves the way with light for people to be rescued and find the shore.
And that's the energy.
It's the energy.
That's a great analogy. That lighthouse doesn't run up and down the beach going, hey, where are you?
That's right.
It's there. And so what characteristics do you believe that leaders really need to have to take a stand for other people?
Play to win. Like you have to be willing to go all in every day, even when you don't feel like it, because your people are watching you. And leading through COVID, and switching offices from the Market Center one, Gary Keller asked me to go to the North one. He's like, okay, we're going to do the citywide thing. I'll think, try doing that during coming in. They know me as the OP, so they think I'm like this corporate person. They don't really know me. So try getting to know people through Zoom. We all did it, right? Yeah. And yet here we are today, and that office has been completely transformed because of energy and because of the way you show up for your people. So I'm that person in the trenches with them, leading by example.
You almost have to be above. Your energy has to be a little bit above, not too over the top. Yeah. Yet the other part that I think is important as leaders, you find some leaders that they just want to be liked by everybody. They won't take a stand for what is right. What does that do to a market center or an office?
It's kind of like, being liked is one thing. That's something I had a challenge with in the beginning. I'm competitive too. That has what kept me going. But I like to be liked. And I think it's an age thing. Who knows?
No, we all like to be liked.
Let's be liked. Come on. I'd rather have a group of people that like me and laugh. I want a lot of laughter in my life, right? But I will always take a stand for my people. And now people love me.
Yet when you take a stand for somebody else, and I think as leaders, we need to take a stand for other people's greatness more than they stand for their limitations. Yet a lot of people like, oh, no, I can't do that. Don't talk to that person. That may, put points against me. Or this one, I really got to know this person because they can get me in, And so it's like if you have a title, they treat a little bit different. It's very interesting. I've experienced that personally. I get it.
Yeah.
And it doesn't make them wrong.
No.
It's just when they realize that every single person counts.
Yeah. That's the game changer. In the bold room, right, that you wrote, I don't even know how many times now. You know me, I'm like going on the bold trips with you, like bald girl, right? A lot of fun. We went around the world together. Yeah. And there's that one exercise, where they put the sheet on the back where they write about you.
Yes.
And I remember for my first few years in Austin, it would be like, oh my gosh, so fun. So all these things that just felt, they meant them as compliments, but I was like, that's not meaningful enough to me. And now it's you know, she walks in the room, the energy changes. She changed my life. I can't imagine the world without Melanie. That kind of stuff, because it went from like you say, snorkeling to scuba diving with people. So I go there with them. I go there and I challenge people.
So I like what you just said, because you literally went from success where it was pretty much all about you to significance where it is totally about the other people.
100%.
And you found that what they said about you went from she's fun, she has high energy, love to be around her, has a great smile, all these superficial successful
Yeah, it's like,
things,
really?
right? Versus she changed my life.
Yeah, most powerful
She
leader
made
I ever
a
met.
difference.
Right. Yeah.
Powerful leader.
Yeah.
Want to follow her.
Mhm.
Yeah. It makes such a
And so the
difference.
question I asked was, what changed in me? And part of that is I stopped caring about being liked. I stopped caring about being liked, and I knew, listen, I don't have all the answers. I never have, and I never will. Right? I know where to go to get them, though. However, but how I show up matters. And I will always treat you with respect. I will always face, you have to go to every fight you're invited to.
Yeah.
I did learn that one too. But the important ones, man, I play all in.
Well, and when someone's rejecting you, you literally go in even a little bit more, not forceful, just say, hey, can we talk about this? What's going on? What's happening in the world? So you helped with Bold tremendously. I mean, and I know Bold's been rewritten, and that's great, and everything is wonderful. Yet back in the day when we had the Bold trips, we had all of the things going. What's your favorite story with watching your agents that you've helped?
Oh, there are so many, okay, so like I think about Jana Love in Austin. Okay, she was Rookie of the Year, right? But when she started, she came from a marketing background, had a lot of health issues. She lost a ton of weight, but she was just living kind of a mediocre life, right? And she wrote all the things that she was going to do a year from then. And I remember, and one of them was
the letter
that you write yourself. You dated a year in advance and all the things. And to see her blow past everything, like it changed. So I see that again and again, that people blow past what they think is possible. Like we're going through Bold right now. There's a lot of that Bold still in there, like that.
Oh, good.
Your energy is still in there.
I'm glad that no. A lot of those exercises.
Your energy is still in there.
The brain.
100%. 100%. And I'm seeing it still happening. I'm still seeing it happen because it's like what you focus on. It does. And it attracts that. Like you just need to know what you want in life. I learned a lot of that from you. Half the challenge with the agents is like helping them articulate what do they even want. So watching Jana write that letter, and then she forgot about it, and she cried tears. One of it was a trip to Disney. She's like, oh my gosh, we just got back from Disney. I got work, like everything, things she thought were never even possible.
And she forgot about because she wrote the letter and then
you guys sent it away. Yeah, and you guys held it and sent it. And I had that same experience when I moved to Austin with the car. And it was, it changed me.
Well, that car, the Mercedes, that you ended up getting.
Yeah.
So just tell us very briefly. You wrote the letter. I know
Reno.
the story.
Yeah, you know the story. So I wrote the letter in Reno. I'm very frustrated in Reno already. I'm already talking to you guys like, how do I get out of here? I love my people. I was like, I'm never leaving my people. And I'm like, but then at some point I needed to leave for myself, right? And so I wrote the letter in there. And so moved to Austin. First 6 months in Austin were rough, like I said. It was not like, welcome to paradise. It was like, oh my God, pack it up, kids. We're going back, I'd lost my family unit. I'm like, this is Market Center 1. Like, I had a very low salary, high bonus, but I'm willing to bet on myself. Well, that bonus wasn't showing up yet. I was like, what am I doing wrong? What am I doing? And I was really at a point where I was doubting that I made the right decision. I feel like I failed my family. And I'm like, how did I miss this one? I'm high intuitive. And then Dee Schultz called me. And she's screaming, you won. Yeah, amazing founder of Arcadia Electric Division. You won the car. I'm like, wait, hold on. She's like, no, you won the car in the trip to Germany. And she had sold me one ticket back in February. Or I hardly had the money for $100 because my family wasn't even out yet.
I remember that.
Because we were losing everything from all the money we brought from Germany. And I was like, oh my gosh. And I called Mary Tennant, and my husband at the time was filming in Morocco. I'm like, I have a car. And Mary Tennant was like, honey, this is the first of many good things. So I said, okay, maybe I'm the right path. But the next week I got my Bold letter. And this just changed my life forever. In that Bold letter, it said, get a new sports car and take the kids back to Germany.
And there you got it, everything. And you had won it.
I won it. I know. So the next summer we flew to Stuttgart, picked up my car that I'd ordered, saw my kids' grandparents are there, my best friends over there. We're driving it. And it was all things because I put it out there.
Well, you put it out there with emotion. So if you're listening to this and you haven't taken the bold that I had written,
Amazing.
you literally every year write yourself a letter. It doesn't matter what time of year it is. You just say the last year, you project yourself into the future and you say the last year was amazing because, and you put lots of energy.
Yeah.
You say all the things that you can accomplish or you did accomplish.
Yeah.
And then you seal the letter up and you open it up a year later. And it is amazing because your reticular activating system of your brain takes it in and it stores it, and it loves for your brain wants to be right.
That's right.
It does, it does,
Yeah.
it does.
Yeah.
So what advice do you have for the leaders out there? Because you've had a lot of leadership lessons through challenges, through setbacks as far as moving and family and
Mhm.
lots of changes.
honestly, the last 3.5 years for me leading has been the hardest.
Okay.
Yeah. So I was already, 13.5 years in, 13
Mhm.
years or so when I moved north. So leading through COVID in a new market center with wrong hires in different departments. I won't say which. I talk about this a lot in my career visioning. I was just teaching this in the Carolinas this week. A lot of ownership changes, lots of changes. So as a leader, and I advise a lot of team leaders because I say, here's the thing. You have to be in it for you. Like you have to know you love people and it's about people. So I have stayed in this role for my people.
That's good. It's about the people.
It's about them.
And when Mary Tennant said to you, this is just the first of many great things.
Yeah.
A leader saying that to you,
Mhm.
it does help.
It does.
Because it's like, oh man, there is hope.
Yeah.
There is something.
That's the light I needed because I was literally ready to.
Well,
move.
she became your lighthouse many times.
Yeah.
I mean, she was always talking about you and Dianna, always promoting you, always saying,
That's awesome.
I never heard her say anything bad
Well, that's
about
good to
either
hear.
one of them.
She opened a lot of doors for me too. I mean, I had the house that I live in. I have that house because of her. Honestly, we were doing some kind of investment opportunity and we wanted the Dripping Springs, business center that we own, well, we don't own it, but the agents put together an investment group. And Mary's like, yeah, we should let the agents do it. And I said, you're right. Okay. So we stepped back and she gave me a big chunk of cash to buy the house that I have. She said, why don't you invest in you? Like, I'll never, it's amazing.
She's a great lady.
Yeah. She
really
opened a lot of doors for me.
I think she worked diligently to open doors for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And she did so many things. And she was like the wind beneath the wings.
Yeah.
Because she never talked about what she did.
Yeah, never.
She just did it.
Never.
Yeah. And
Never.
lots of people got credit for things
Yes.
Mary did.
She made sure that. Yeah. She made sure that. I remember one of the recharge events we were at in San Francisco, we were at one of the places and me and Diane were hanging out at one of the events and I was introducing, I said, oh, now this is my boss or whatever. And she said, no, I'm not that. I'm just the person that did what she's doing before her. I'm like, whatever. She's the president of the company, all the things, right? But I did learn a lot from her on like modesty and those kind of things. She would never take credit for anything.
She's very, very humble. Always gave credit to the team and did so many things for the people. So I've heard, make it about the people.
Yeah.
Believe in yourself.
Yeah.
Step into fear.
Yeah.
Do whatever you've got to do.
Yeah.
Here's
the big one though too.
Okay.
Be the change.
Oh, I love that.
Be the change because there's nothing coming for you. I mean, when you okay, no, like white horse. There's that person that's going to really have the answers for me. They're not coming, Dianna. They're not. I learned that the last 3.5 years.
You have to find the answers yourself.
Yes,
and yet you read.
Yep,
because leaders are readers.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
I mean, how can you lead without reading? Right. Secondly, you're constantly attending seminars, learning new things, implementing. What do you think people are? I'd say they're addicted to information and allergic to implementation.
That's good.
So why do you think they go and they learn yet they don't?
Yeah, I that drives me crazy because I'm like, look, if you're going to invest this time, that's why Bold works so well too. Is that there's no hiding. You have to perform. It's a perform. And I actually just recently took Landmark Forum for the first time.
Oh, that's
and it reminded me a lot. It's like it's all in alignment with what we do. You know, it's been my dad had taken it like I don't know 40 years ago. But you think about everything we do as leaders is words in action. Words in action. And there's a lot of talk out there, and whether it's a leader or an agent, they'll go and they love the information, but if there's no implementation, then it was just what are you on vacation? And that's
money spent to go and network with people.
exactly,
Right.
exactly. So one of the things that I've always said is I always take you with me. And I live very out loud.
Yes.
I have the onlines, I do all the things, but I always take people with me, whether I'm learning something, whatever, and I implement because I'm just role modeling that. I tell the agents, listen, I'm more like you than the corporate people.
Yeah.
I'm a mega agent at heart. I'm just living it in the trenches with you guys. And what I'm doing, you're doing, but you got to implement or don't even bother.
Even being a corporate, a CEO, it was the fact that every decision was made for the people. I mean, like Bold.
Yeah.
I had my own job to do. Bold was written at 2 a.m. and on weekends. Like Tony said, I never saw you because I did my job at International,
Wow.
and then I wrote Bold at home.
I didn't realize that.
No, there was not one word written at International. Now, a lot of people take credit for helping me write it. I think there's up to about 22 people now that have written Bold. It's so fun to watch that. Yeah. And yet, I know, and that's all that matters.
Exactly. Yeah.
And the people that were there at first.
Yeah.
So you gave me this booklet when we went to South Africa for Bold.
Yeah.
With all the pictures and that, and we got to go many, many places. What was your favorite?
That trip.
And what did you learn?
Okay, so first of all, going to South Africa was never on my list.
Yeah.
I would have missed out on that had we not had that trip. It was always my dad's bucket list. My dad always had these places he wants to go, like Alaskan cruise or do a safari in South Africa. And South Africa just wasn't on my radar for whatever reason. It just wasn't. And because of that trip, I was a little nervous about it because I was like, it just seems so foreign to me and had never been, I'm pretty stubborn, so I like to go where I want to go kind of thing. Imagine that.
And I did the itinerary, so you can do that now.
Oh, girl, come on. Any trip with you, I knew was going to be amazing. Anything from Recharge or these Bold trips have been some of the best trips of my life. So I had full faith in that, right? But it was just like, I just didn't know what to expect. I knew I'd love the people and that we had the event with the agent. But when I arrived there, it's back up. So we were booking the flights and they said, well, this flight that everybody's on kind of sold out. But we can get you a seat, but you're going to have to pay out of pocket $3,500 for this first class. And I said, what are my other options? And said, remember, I'm just a few years now into like okay, I'm making money now. Life is coming good. And they said, well, there's a British Airways one, but you have a 10-hour layover in London. But then it's direct Austin, London, and then London to Johannesburg. And I said, great, sign me up. And then I got the San Antonio people. Althea met us on that flight. We go to London. We go and we tour around London. So we add London to itinerary, and then we go. When we got there, so we've been traveling about 2 days, okay? Because those are long flights. Because it's 10 hours, and then I had 10 hours, and now it's 14, and then a 4-hour drive. We arrived there. I see Bruce Hardy and a gang like going on a safari right that second. And I just got there and I'm like, you have room for one more? And they're like, sure. And the sun's setting and it's hot out. So I just have like a t-shirt on and I jump on that safari and I just go. Cause I'm like, well, here we are. Baboons are walking by and all the things. It was the most incredible. I was freezing, but they cuddled with me. So it's okay. It was the most incredible experience. I mean, the whole time and the helicopter thing I'm not a golfer. Amazing experience.
We took a helicopter up to the 19th hole,
which was like on a mountain.
It was the longest drive you ever had. Went straight down the mountain.
Mess up this, and then we flew down to Cape Town and did the topography there, like the differences of like it reminded me of Australia, and it opened my Cape of Good. What was that? The Cape of Good Hope or whatever. The tip. I think my biggest lesson there was just how amazing the world is, like how big it is, and how I'm just reminded to get out of, because I knew Europe, I know where I'm comfortable, but that was new for me, and so my biggest lesson was just like trusting, and I had to trust because I knew your trips would be amazing, and I knew the people that were amazing, but it changed me somehow because it was like I would have missed out on that, so I had this great sense of gratitude all around that trip. It was just incredible.
So you were outside your comfort
zone.
And you literally had to learn to be comfortable being uncomfortable.
Yeah.
Well,
it was magnificent.
Whether it was the trips or the recharge, and I'm starting to do that again. I don't know if you knew that.
I know. I saw the Nashville. I was so sad to miss. I had my Lulu time.
We're starting to do it all over again because it's something that experiences expand our mind. They actually allow us to think bigger, and they get our mind to think differently, to open up to new ways of thinking. And that's what I want to do. And it gives us different chemicals, the excitement and a little bit of hesitation of wondering what's going on. And people keep going, tell us what the surprise event is. I don't tell you because I'm not helping your brain when I tell you.
I love that.
You know
don't
what?
know.
Well, that's the part of it. And a lot of people go, well, I don't know if I want to go or not. Well, then you're limiting yourself all the time.
Yeah.
Go for it. What do you have to lose?
Right.
So see, these are the people that want to look good and be
And
right.
that's right.
That if I don't like it, I'd rather sit and watch TV than go there and have something that I don't like. Well, you know what?
Yeah.
Lord, the world is big.
It
like
is
you said.
big.
Yeah.
It is big. And you know, every time we've gone on any of the trips, whether it was a bold trip or it was recharge or just anything that we've been on together, like I know I'm going to learn and grow so much. Like because the speakers you bring in and things like that, like the New York one, though, blew me away.
Yeah, that one was one of my favorites.
The Rainbow Room.
Yeah,
There's
there's no
back
doubt.
in time, girl.
There's no doubt. And sometimes we have to go back in time though to reflect on what we can do better and what we can learn from. And what is it so we don't make the same mistake over and over and over again, right? So I think the big thing is now you've helped us with thinking bigger, getting outside our comfort zone, making certain that we'll do whatever,
Whatever.
Go for the surprise.
Yeah.
Go for the surprise.
And don't be afraid to mess up. Like, you know, like they say in Shift book, right? You fail your way to success. You don't succeed your way. And I think I got rid of that a long time ago. But when, there is no answer, there is no like that person coming, like you are the answer, be the change. Because that, you and your gift and be authentically you though.
That's the thing. You have to be authentic and transparent. Don't get this imposter syndrome. Because that's a limiting belief when you don't think you're good enough. The other day I spoke in Indy and we were talking about the letter E, and I used this slide and it had the E, the keyboard was missing. And every time it was an E, it was an F. And it says, when you don't think that you make a difference, think of the little E on the keyboard not working. And so typing out this, when you think that you don't make a difference, think how many E's are in there and all these X's show up and you go, wow, I really do make a difference. And you've made a difference for us today. Do you have any parting thoughts that you'd like to share with our listeners and our viewers today?
I just want to thank you for being somebody so important to me in my life. And you have no idea the impact you have made on so many people because I continue doing the work in the field with so many people that share how much you've touched their life too. So I want to thank you for that. And I also want to tell people you don't know who is watching you and be that for somebody. And I wrap up, I was just teaching in the Carolinas region, career visioning. Day one, they rewrote that as well. And at the end of day one, they talk about, like who's the one for you? Who are your mentors in your life?
Mentors are so important.
Oh my gosh, so important. I have so many, I have you and Mo and, Mary's been mentored. Gary, my mother has been a huge mentor to me. Donna Hartley, who's my acting coach from when I was 18, who we've done a lot of work now. She's a keynote speaker. Like I have so many wonderful people in my life. And then I think about every day somebody's telling me I'm theirs. And that's just
it's a ripple effect.
Never know.
And that's why when you honor me, you actually honor all the people before me. My dad, John Maxwell, Gary, Don Yeager. I mean, I've had so many mentors, and I believe we have to have those in our life. If you don't have a mentor, think about who can be your mentor. In fact, I'm starting a mentorship program with people, 3 different levels. And so with all these things going on though, Melanie, and all the great advice that you've given to us, thank you so much. And I'm so glad that you made the choice to become more, because that's what life is all about. And I know I'm going to watch you because you're going to just keep going and going and going. The sky's the limit, that's for certain when it comes to you, because of your energy. You are like a rocket ship. You are just going to keep going. So thank you for joining us today. Come back and listen to other people as they become more, because their lessons become your lessons.
In your life, you deserve to be more, do more, have more, and give more. And now the Becoming More podcast with Dianna Kokoszka.